Hello, everyone. I'm Robyn Grable, the founder of Talents Ascend and the Ascend Collective, and your host for Ascending Beyond Barriers. Welcome. Ascending Beyond Barriers is an inspiring podcast dedicated to showcasing the remarkable journeys of small business founders who have faced and overcome significant challenges on their path to success. Each episode delves into the personal stories of entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds, highlighting their unique experiences, struggles, and triumphs. Today, I'm honored to welcome Llyas Salahud-Din. He is a certified nonprofit professional whose passion for philanthropy stems from his 15 years in foster care. Over the course of his career, he has helped raise tens of millions of dollars for youth, education, and community initiatives, earning recognition as the 2021 Fundraiser of the Year by the Austin Association of Fundraising Professionals. From leading multi-year giving campaigns at LifeWorks and Make-A-Wish to building a development department from the ground up at Texas Empowerment Academy, culminating in a $39 million charter school capital campaign, Llyas has made a lasting impact in Central Texas. He is also the founder of GrantAppli, an award-winning AI software helping nonprofits streamline grant writing and fundraising. Llyas, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you. As the founder of a nonprofit, I'm interested in all the work that you're doing because we're certainly in that stage of having to raise funds and trying to get donors and all of that and really ramping up our campaign. So I'm really excited to hear, but I want to start with your time in foster care. I don't know that I've met a lot of people who've come out of the foster care system. My husband and I years ago had contemplated adopting from foster care. And it just didn't work out for us, unfortunately. But I want to hear about your journey and how that kind of built who you are.
Yes, of course. And you're actually correct. Most kids that enter into foster care, their long-term outcome is not successful. And success meaning like being able to have a living wage. A lot of foster kids end up homeless. They end up human trafficking. They end up on drugs. A lot of them aren't the ones that do go to school. It's very hard to complete either high school or college, and very few of them go to college. Even though there's, or at least in Texas, I don't know if it's a national thing, but foster kids, I know in Texas they get free tuition, and I mean just that opportunity to take advantage of free tuition. Most of them they just have so much going on that it's hard to take advantage of that opportunity.
Sure.
In my situation, I wasn't in multiple homes. I was, maybe in a couple. I started off in the shelter and then went to another home that I pretty much stayed the whole time. So I didn't really bounce around from like a lot of these kids, which that trauma, you have kids by the time they're 18, they've been in 20 different homes,
Oh my gosh.
So that whole transition, it just weighs on children, and that trauma just kind of sticks with them.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's self-sabotage, right?
Sure.
So I was just very blessed, lucky to be a part of an organization, nonprofit organization that really poured their time, money, and resources to make sure that I had the resources and the full potential, the resources to really see my full potential and to take advantage of opportunities. And so, and I kind of, as a kid, I realized that as a kid that opportunities come and go, and you got to take advantage of those opportunities, and that's what I did. And so I had that foresight to, I wanted to go to college. I knew if I did, if I was in trouble, that those opportunities were going to be taken away, right? And so I always just made sure that I stayed on the right track and listened to the mentors, to the tutors. It wasn't easy. I made a lot of mistakes. I could have easily fallen through the cracks, but the organization just really had a really strong safety net. So when you did make mistakes, there were some corrective actions.
That's amazing. Sounds like a model that needs to be maybe replicated in other states and other areas, because I don't know that all of the foster care systems really have that support and that infrastructure to do that, unfortunately.
True.
I have 5 grand cherubs, and I've really seen my daughter homeschools them, and I've really seen the difference in how they've been raised, and knowing that they get all the support they need, all the confidence and knowing kids that don't get that, it breaks my heart. It really does. I just have a soft spot for kids in those situations because they don't ask for it. I mean, you didn't ask to be put into that situation. So, but hey, God had a purpose for you. And you've certainly paid that forward. So tell us about your journey and, being the director of development and raising all this money. And how did that come about? How did that first get started?
Well, I always, being in foster care, like I was exposed to philanthropy at a young age. I was I
Okay.
was that poster um, kid in the organization that was in the boardroom,
Oh,
sharing to
wow.
donors how the organization's helped. I was on stage giving my testimony. So like
Wow.
organically, like I've been fundraising indirectly as a child, just um, being associated with like development department and giving those testimonies and then and then I went to college and got a degree in a master's in public administration with the
Okay.
concentration in nonprofit management. And
Wow.
then I was lucky to land this internship with United Way in San Antonio as a loan executive. What they do, they take retired people and they go out and almost retired people. They go out and they fundraise in the community, but they started a program for college interns. So I was surrounded by all these individuals who had great experiences in the corporate sector, and they were out fundraising, and I was getting mentored by them. And I actually got an award while I was during my internship. They said you should do this for a living. Um,
Nice.
I just stayed with it. When I remember when I did my first, I was applying for a job with City or San Antonio. City is a national organization, and I remember I was going head on with someone else, and like you've got these like really strong relationships that most interns don't have. But it was because of that internship that opened up doors, and I just continued to stay in. And that was for a program position, and I always knew I wanted to fundraise, so I did that job for a couple years, and then there was these 2 guys in Starbucks talking about they couldn't find any quality applicants for a fundraising position in Austin, Texas. I just
Nice.
walked talking about opportunity. It's like in your brain, it's like, okay, your brain is like your amygdala is like, okay, do I? That's the hesitation part of your brain, and then
Right.
the frontal cortex is more the logical part of the brain. So I've been always able to like use that logical part more than the amygdala, where it's like hesitation. So I was like, I'm gonna go talk to those 2 guys. I went to talk to them, and I was like, hey, I heard you talking about you can't find a quality applicant. I'm looking to work in Austin. And they said, send me your resume. They didn't know anything about me. I sent them my resume. They interviewed me like we're interviewing here, and they're like, you're hired. And the week later, I was in Austin, Texas. And, I didn't know anyone in Austin, Texas. And I reached out to somebody online because they were having this conference, and he was hosting something, and he got me a ticket to go to the conference. I sat by this foundation person at a foundation, got to talking to them, and they opened up a lot of doors for me. So it's like being fearless of like when something comes into your mind, do I do it? Do I not do it?
Yeah.
I've always just done it, right? And
Good
so
for you.
um, opportunities handed to you. So sometimes opportunity you got to take it, and that's just kind of mindset that I have. And I've been fundraising ever since. And as you know, in this world, when you get when you connect with one donor, they open up doors, or you build relationships, and it's a relationship game. And I've always been, genuine in my relationship approach to. I think it probably stems from my past foster care. Like you want to keep good people around you, and
Yeah.
that's been my whole mindset. Is just to always surround myself around like good people, and good people do good things together. And also like I just know that like any form of like passion is contagious, right? And so I've always been passionate about what I've done, and that kind of attracts like people around you. And so
It does.
that's been my journey ever since. And then
Wow.
I don't know if I should talk about my software yet, but that's,
We'll get
you know,
there. We'll get there. Yeah.
yeah,
Come on, because I think, you know, I want to point out, and for people that are listening, that you have to be open to those opportunities. Just like you said, you have to be listening for those opportunities or those conversations going on around you to take advantage of those and jump in. But how do you talk to introverts like me, who had very low self-esteem growing up, and really it's just hard for me to ask people for money. How do you help people like that? And I know GrantAppli will be part of that, but just what's your off the cuff, like, what do you tell me as I'm trying to fundraise? What do I do?
well, there's two things, right? Like if you're an introvert and you don't like asking for money, there's
Yes.
two things. You either trick your brain into doing it, meaning like you convince yourself like if you love this organization, you're not.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be about you and you being
Right.
an introvert. It's
Yeah.
about you love the organization, so you're going to do it.
Very
You're
true.
going to do it on behalf of the organization because you love it.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, people are passion. People are attracted to that passion. Passion is contagious, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're passionate about the organization and you can speak passionate about it, then people are going to follow you, right? The
Yeah.
second part, if you just can't get over that being an introvert, well then can you get another volunteer to do that for you, or
Sure.
can you write a grant for capacity building to hire somebody that can do it better than you?
Yeah.
Those are
Good
pretty
advice.
much your only two options.
Right.
Either
That's
do it, or you
good
get
advice,
somebody to do it for you. But
though.
if
Yeah.
but if you're in that, if you can't do it and 1 year goes by and the second year goes by,
Yeah.
well, what is the consequence about you not eventually doing it? Well,
Yeah.
the organization fails, right? And
Absolutely.
so,
Right.
um,
No, that's a good point. I mean, I am very passionate about what we do here, and I can talk about that and people can feel that passion. It's just that next step of saying, okay, well, how do you support us? And I'm getting better at it, but yeah,
yeah.
that's good
Well,
advice. No, for
the third
sure.
thing also is like you can practice now with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You can literally just like in the car or on a walk, you can
Yeah.
practice having those conversations to where it's more fluid,
Good
right?
point. Good point.
Yeah.
All right. Before
And
we get to talking about GrantAppli, I want to ask just about Make a Wish. Obviously, a very well known foundation doing great things for people. And just tell us about your experience working there.
my experience with there was actually very short.
Okay.
It was like 9 months. That's the shortest organization I worked for. And it was just, I left LifeWorks after 3 or 4 years, implemented a multi-year giving strategy there,
Wow.
went to Make a Wish, and I did the same thing. But like the organization that I think I've made the biggest mark in the community is where I am, is Texas Department Academy, and I've
Yeah.
taken that organization from literally zero funders. Been around for they're at the time they're around for 21 years, zero funders. I came in
Wow.
there and I built their development department from scratch, got them funders, individual funders, and then you know some foundation funders. Like after 2 years, they wanted to start a capital campaign. I wanted to put the brakes on it because like you got to build more relationships, but they didn't have the time.
Mm.
Um, thank goodness my relationships like poured over, but I just put it out there in the universe, do what I do best, go talk to people fearlessly. You get 99 no's and one yes, right? And that one yes opened up another yes. And rejection, it's like in this game of like raising money, there's a lot of rejection. You got to
There
see
is.
people see your vision. And most people don't see other people's visions, right? But it's, the couple people that do that actually get you across the goal line. And so we launched a $39 million capital campaign, and it took us 4 years, 4 years to meet that goal.
Wow.
Obviously, it's a school, so I raised, $15 million privately, and then we got bond funding to make up the rest.
Wow.
And here we are now, a brand new school, almost 2 years. It's been open, and it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that yeah. So, but again, it was there's a lot more that happened behind the scenes where like, we almost lost a project like 4 or 5 times, but it was those relationships that kept the project going.
Yeah.
And I can't stress that enough. Like I do see, like,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, you can always have a campaign where you have the social media campaigns um and those are great, but I think those are additives. I think when it comes down to the most important thing you can do as a fundraiser is those coffees and lunches, and or just picking up the phone, which is old school, sending those thank you cards, just
Yeah.
really making your funders feel like they're really part of your mission, keeping them informed of the impact that you're making. It's a little like of a hybrid of like old school, new school. So I think the new school stuff is great, and I think they're additives to what you do. But one thing that human approach of sitting in front of somebody and looking them in the eye and just having a conversation over coffee or lunch, or dinner, that would, I don't think that'll ever be replaced. Never.
No, no, I agree. But it's hard though for introverts that, and I say that and people look at me like, you're not an introvert. You're like, you're so outgoing and whatever. And I'm like, and I spent 15 years being a relationship manager and love my clients and love going to have conversations with them. So I just need to, like you said, I need to rewire my mindset. So I'm sure there are
Yeah.
more people out there like me. So tell us about GrantAppli. How did you come up with this idea for this software, and tell us how it works?
Well, I mean, we all raise money and we all want to raise it more efficiently, right?
Yeah.
There's there's so in the corporate world, they're blanketed with ample amount of funding and resources, right? And in the nonprofit world, not every nonprofit has $1 million in the bank. Less than 5% have $1 million in the bank.
Right.
So, but I think that the crazy thing about AI now is it's a low barrier to entry now, and there's a lot of tools that could help you in marketing, that could help you in communications, could help you in fundraising, um, donor donor management, managing your donors, or donor prospecting, right? So there's a lot of tools that you can use to do all of that, right? And so, but for me, I understand that we all have to write grants. Most of us have to write grants. The larger organizations have grant teams.
Yeah.
The smaller organizations, it's like a one woman shop. And so I've always been that person where, I didn't have a big team around me unless I was working for a big organization. When
Yeah.
you're working for a big organization, you're siloed. But when you have like, to do everything, you're the grant writer, you're the fundraiser, you're the CEO. And so I wanted to make something that was build a tool that allowed me to kind of clone myself. Like I didn't
Nice.
want to spend 8 hours writing a grant. I didn't like that. And then I noticed like 85% of what I'm writing or 75% of what I'm writing is the same thing. There's got to be
Wow.
a better way. And
Okay.
so I took all my notes. I found an engineer and built GrantAppli. And what it does is just streamlines that whole workflow. But then I also built it to where me and another person can collaborate at the same time and write together, right? Where I
Hmm.
can get feedback on what I'm writing in real time. And so my software, it took a year to build the software, and then we went to market last year.
Nice.
We're doing well. We're in the black, so we're not bleeding money or anything. What that means for, well, everyone knows that means. So we've got enough funding to where I'm not even bootstrapping it anymore. We're using the investment
Congratulations.
that we have. We haven't taken any, like, we've had like partnership investments, which is pretty cool, and so we haven't had any of that dilute. We haven't had dilute our my
Yeah.
the percentages of like ownership, right?
Okay.
And so that's been cool. So it's been amazing to see nonprofits win money with my software. But most importantly, we don't guarantee that you win money. We guarantee to cut your grant workflow down by 50% guaranteed,
Okay.
right? And you can also use it for blogging, brainstorming, copywriting, data research, like researching data to strengthen your grants. So um, in about 2 months, we're going to be adding a grant sourcing, so you can find grants with the software and write grants. And
Nice.
so and some other cool features that are coming in early 2026. But it's been pretty cool to like actually. Sometimes I pinch myself, like I actually have a software that people
Right.
use and it's making money. It's kind of weird, like the whole like. But I'm in the nonprofit sector still, but
Yeah.
I just wanted at the end of the day, build something that helps advance our sector.
Yeah.
And so we'll see where this takes us. And I'm excited for to be on this show with you, podcast, and
Yeah.
hopefully it reaches some people and people are moved to get behind us. And we got a lot of more cool stuff that we're going to be bringing to the software. More of like, how do we bring more of a for our customers to feel like they're part of the software, is not just the software tool, but you feel like you're part of a family. So we got some stuff that's coming out soon too, to where um, there's some other benefits to being customers, not just being a customer to use the software.
Nice. So, like, is there any interconnectivity between? So, can I connect with other nonprofits on the platform? Is that something that's coming?
So something like that is coming. Being able to
Yeah,
connect to
awesome.
nonprofits, and some other bells and whistles um, that are coming as well. Don't want to share it all because
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
no,
know
give
who's
it
watching
away.
this, and there are competition out there, so people may want to
Oh gosh, yeah.
take our ideas. But we got some cool stuff that you're gonna like when you become customers. But we everyone loves so far. I mean, and it's interesting to meeting all these new so I do a lot of the sales too on when I onboard people, and it's just interesting to see the different nonprofits doing amazing work in the community. But it's also cool to hear the feedback when our software enables you to win money or allows you to save time. Right?
Time.
We're all set for time, especially
Yeah,
this mid-size and small mid-sized nonprofits. And if
right.
I can give you I think if I can, I know that if I can give you that time back,
Yeah,
you're going to spend it more with your family, your friends, or being able to do more within your organization.
absolutely. No, that's a great point. I love that. That's a good soundbite there. But how do you? I mean, there are thousands, probably I don't know, millions of nonprofits in this country. I know there. The last count I had, there were like 45,000 veteran nonprofits.
Wow.
How do you talk with nonprofits on competing for that dollars? I mean, I feel like there's an abundance of money out there. It's just a matter of where people will spend it. But how do you tell nonprofits? How do you compete with other nonprofits? What's your advice?
Well, I don't know about competing. I think there's enough money out there for nonprofits
Or
to.
maybe stand out. Yes, I agree with you. Competing is not the right word because we're very collaborative. How do
Yeah.
you, yes, how do you stand out in the sea of others?
Okay. How do you stand out? I mean, you've got. I mean, that's like more of like a one. There's two ways to stand. Well, standing out is like you have to dissect. It's kind of like every nonprofit and school. You have to do an audit every year, right? And so I don't think there's enough nonprofits really auditing their marketing
No,
and the communications, right? Every year, right?
I
Where
agree.
to look at where their strengths are, weaknesses are, XYZ, right? It's
Yeah.
always like who's the next donor, right? And so like and I never and it should be more of like, am I maximizing the donors that I have and the
Okay.
relationships I have, like those.
Yeah.
So one of the things I like to do is like those giving circles, because giving circles always bring in new individuals, right? And it's
Yeah.
intimate and it's new. It allows you to like not really chase, but at the same time, on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, like what are your systems, right? Your fundraising systems. Are
Yeah.
you picking up the phone, doing cold calls, right? Are you writing, sending out emails on a daily basis to companies or individuals or foundations, right? Because a lot of foundations they may be they're like invite only, but you just
Mhm.
you should still email them or
Okay.
what are your fundraising systems? Are you sending out grants without even contacting their the the person working at the liaison at the grant, the
Yeah.
foundation, right? So like I
Okay.
just kind of have. And where are you networking? Yeah, some people like they just stay behind the computer all day. They're not even networking, right? So are you networking? Where are you networking?
Right.
Where are you building relationships?
Yeah.
Like what is your outreach, like daily, weekly, monthly, yearly outreach, like activities, right?
Okay.
So I think if you are doing something on a day-to-day basis, are you going to webinars? Are you going to conferences? Right? All that costs money too. Right? I
Does.
understand that. But at
Mhm.
minimum, you should be out and about in the community if you can. If you can't do it all the time, monthly basis, it's just like chipping away at all the activities that
Yeah.
you need to do to get in front of people. And that's one way of just organically um, being out and about, meeting people. Oh, I met you here. But the other thing is, I mean, you got to build a marketing budget and you got to use different tools to get above the noise, right?
Yeah.
Or build ambassadors around organizations so where people are talking about you, right? Who
Sure.
can you collaborate? Like who? If you can't give me $100,000, but you're connected to all these people, like can you be my ambassador, right? So
Mm.
really doing an audit of like all your volunteers, all your relationships. Like, do you know who's connected to you with all your relationships? Who has the
Yeah.
capacity to give funding? Who, you know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
really, really dissecting every relationship that you have in your organization. And if you
Yep.
can't give money, how can you post on social media? Can you introduce us, make an introduction to us? Making sure that everyone has um, a way to uh, contribute
No.
if they can't contribute for dollars. So if
Yeah.
you're looking for new money and you haven't done your audit of who's in your database,
Yeah.
then I think there's always going to be an imbalance, and you're always going to be chasing, and you're gonna be losing donors because you're just not really making sure every person plays a role within your organization, and everyone can play a role.
Yeah.
And you can start. And I'm speaking for experience. You start small and you build from
Yeah.
those 3 people to 20 people, 30, 40, to you get to a couple hundred people that are your ambassadors.
You make it sound so easy, Elias.
Yeah,
It's like
it's a hustle. Yeah, it's
it is.
I make it sound easy just because it's spitting off my tongue, but
Right.
it's really hard.
Oh, it is hard. And
It's
you've now given me lots of homework I have to work on. All right, we're out of time. So let's close out. If somebody's thinking about starting a nonprofit, what would your best advice be for them?
I would well, I think it's that's the beauty of like your passion. I think anyone should start something that they think can bring healing or impact to their community. And I would say if you're thinking about starting one, definitely research to see if there's any similar organizations that are doing similar work, and maybe go volunteering for them or seeing if you could work for them, um, part time, full time, learn from them, and if in that way, if you can offer some of your expertise of how you would do things different, and if you feel like that organization is can't really take to the next level, then I think that could be your competitive advantage. Like, yeah, they're doing XYZ, but we're not going to duplicate. We're going to do similar work, but we're also going to do something that's different, right? So,
Yes.
just doing your homework to make sure that who else is doing what you're doing, you can either contribute with them or do your own thing that's different. But it's a grind. But I
Yes.
think with anything, everything is hard. But if you love it, it's not hard. It's
It is.
easy. Everything's things I've done, they're
Yep.
easy for me because I'm passionate about the work, and I never don't ever take on anything that you're not passionate about, because it's going to become a job that you're not going to wake up and want to go to. So that's my
It's going to
advice.
be that
Hopefully that reflected.
four-letter word work rather than
Yeah,
the four-letter word love. So,
yeah.
yeah. Awesome. Well, Elias, thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing
Yep.
your journey with all of us. And I have my homework, and everybody needs to check out GrantAppli. It's super cool. And I just wish you all the best, and looking forward to the new additions and the new
Yeah.
things that are coming out.